Lily Tang Williams is a co-chair of the New Hampshire Asian American Coalition. She joins us now. Lily, welcome. It's good to see you. I know a lot of people got to hear you when you were speaking out about a lot of the critical race theory stuff. And really, I mean, what you said about the Cultural Revolution, Mao's Cultural Revolution, and some of the stuff that we've been seeing here, I think for the first time, people really began looking at it through that perspective and really seeing what all of this stuff actually meant after some of the remarks that you've had about CRT and other people have had about CRT. I mean, it's true. Talk a little bit about your perspective, like what you see happening here, whether it's education and, of course, you know, top-down federal mandates, to your experiences when you were growing up in China, and now you see, sadly, that this same stuff is happening in the U.S.
Right, and the immigrants like me who fled communist and socialist countries, some might be not speaking up yet because they have all kinds of worries and concerns about today's current cancel culture. That's why it's so sad about it. You are entitled to your free thoughts and free opinions and freedom of speech in a free country, but people have to worry about those things they care about. And I recognize this since last year. I have been warning people about this bigger and bigger authoritarian government and socialist risk, talking points and rhetorics for a while in this country. But the last year, I really just couldn't sleep because I saw the signs on the wall, and I saw all this division of the people, of the institutions, cancel culture, social justice movement, all just remind me what I went through in China by growing up under Mao's regime, went through 10 years cultural revolution.
Wow. Talking with Lily Tang Williams, and Lily, I mean, I think that's it's a powerful story because a lot of people who never had to endure that, it's one thing to live through it and see it firsthand, and it's another thing to read about it in history books and read different historical accounts, but I think that distance makes them not actually aware of the beginning stages of it when they see it, when it starts happening in their own country. I was reading something that you had wrote just about school children. And as you were saying, the social justice warriorism, and we see that so much with education today. And that's incredibly concerning because from what you had written, from the things that you've said before, that's exactly what they were doing to kids in China with Mao. That's exactly what they were doing. That's terrifying.
Well, they're doing to the children today more than China as the second largest economy. Now they wanted them to study, not Chairman Mao anymore, Chairman Xi's thoughts, little red app, and journalists have to be censored, state licensed, churches have to be state licensed. I found out the people in this country, they just really don't learn that much history and don't understand China. Of course, China is a big country, very complex historical, political, background and systems. So it is my job, because I lived there for 24 years. It is my job to learn about America, then see the similarities and educate people what could happen here, how fast you could lose your freedom, your property rights, your privacy, your parental rights. And just look at during the COVID shutdowns, the pandemic, how many people were told, you cannot do anything, you stay home, and your business closed, you cannot open, or you lose your license, and you must do this, you must do that. And our people complied due to fear, due to all the public goods and all that stuff that another side was talking about. I have seen things just getting worse and worse. And American people, lots of good people welcomed me when I first came to this country. They were demonized because of all this rhetorics and divide and conquer, social justice, critical race theory. And, if you were a white male today, lots of them, they cannot speak up. You were just being labeled racist. And it's so sad for me to say how Americans today are so divided and they cannot have a civil conversation with each other when it comes to movies, art, music, comedies. They all have to be self-censored. Look at what's happening to Bill Maher, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Talking with Lily Tang Williams. Lily, you made a point earlier that I think is incredibly important because there are people who immigrated to the country, became American citizens, know the dangers of communism firsthand, and a lot of them are afraid to speak out because, as you said, because of the cancel culture. And in my town, there was, a father from Vietnam, has a successful business, was initially worried about it, and then realized, oh my gosh, this is serious, and if we don't stop this now in its infancy, then it's going to get a lot worse, and then maybe we won't have the ability to speak out about this. Talk to us a little bit about that, because it's weird to see people on the left and people who think that this is completely fine always yell about appropriation with everything else, but that doesn't seem to bother them when it comes from these testimonies come from people who lived through communism, who experienced it. Suddenly, their real life lived experiences don't matter, which I find astounding. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that people got to understand to learn history. I know our kids are not taught real history. I've been going to, kids to teach them. They really don't know. They think all those rhetoric sounds wonderful. Socialism, social justice sounds wonderful, but they don't understand when you totally rely on government and to provide your welfare state, to have higher taxes, then you become very vulnerable. They can also take everything away. Socialism tried in all over the world. It always ended up to be people were equally poor and equally enslaved, and one political class, ruling class, they have all the power. So, so I think this critical race theory, that's why it scares me, is people just don't see the similarities. And last year, what happened? So-called use race, theory to justify looting, burning, and changing names, and defund the police, and the mafia-dominated state, violence-dominated state use race, skin color to divide people. In China, we use class to divide people. It's just very scary because it's the same tactics to divide people and then conquer and fundamentally transform America. This cultural revolution is happening. That's why immigrants like me who went through the first hand, we saw the writing on the wall. We feel very terrified and scared. That's why I'm getting immigrants who fled those countries. Be brave enough to come out, tell the truth, and trying to talk to our fellow citizens. Maybe they will listen to our first-hand experience and to wake up, to activate. Just voting is not enough, and some still don't even turn out to vote. And we're going to lose this country if we keep going down this path. I'm very scared. We have no place to go. We live in American dream, come to this country with nothing. So what do? We need to be brave and speak up now.